Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Yesenia. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Janae. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Ori. Shout out to Avery. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to... Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to MC. Thank you so much for subscribing. Shout out to Debbie. Shout out to Whitney. Thank you, Avery, for subscribing. Shout out to Molly. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Reagan. Shout out to Finn. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Jesus. Shout out to Laurel. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Lincoln. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Connor. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Jersey. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Scotty. Shout out to Brooke. Thank you, Avery. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, and to everyone. Please check out my channel. I do greeting cards on YouTube Shorts. I do, especially with Valentine's Day right around the corner. I do Valentine cards as well. For friends, for loved ones. Shout out to Danielle. Shout out to Denver. Shout out to Jemiah. Yeah, I have a lot of Snoopy greeting cards. If you want to check out my channel, I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to your girl, Scotty. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to your girl, Scotty. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Eris. Shout out to Moe. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Justice. Excuse me. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Milan. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to James. Shout out to Shabir. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Afia. Shout out to Trinity. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Noelle. Shout out to Dakota. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to Dragon. Shout out to Ayana. Shout out to Glenn. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Excuse me. Shout out to Poppy. Shout out to Mallory. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to Serenity. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Samuel. Shout out to Nash. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Jacaden. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to May. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Armin. Shout out to Tabby. Shout out to Yusra, happy birthday. Shout out to Vic. Shout out to Luciano. Shout out to, whoops, I spelled Luciano wrong. There we go. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Malaya. Shout out to Sequoia. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Emma. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to McKenna. Excuse me. Shout out to Laura. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Benz. Shout out to Jillian. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Rayanne. Or Ryan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Tycon. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Anvor. Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Hadia. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Treshawn. Shout out to Mirabelle. Shout out to Axel. Shout out to Ellie. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Mahi. Shout out to Tahir. Happy birthday. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Shazil. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out on my channel. I'm Ness from NessDIYcorner. I live stream every day around the same time as this or a little bit later. So I hope you can support my channel by either subscribing or leaving likes. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Angela. Shout out to Hafiz. Shout out to Haiti. Shout out to Ellen. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Marlene. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Griffin. Shout out to Kiana. Shout out to Natty Cat. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Harris. Shout out to Macklin. Shout out to Aisha. Shout out to Rhett. Shout out to Keyston. Thank you for showing me how to pronounce your name. Shout out to Paige. Oh wait, what was it? Shout out to Sandy. Shout out to Angel. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to, is it Bri? Or Bree? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Foxy. Shout out to Lucinda. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Hey Hey. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Arion. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Ahil. Shout out to Rihanna. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Romina. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Amaya. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Bocello. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lulu. Shout out to Luvencia. Shout out to Jalea or Jalaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gloria. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Madeline. Or Madeline. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Ira. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to Emmy. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Amira. Shout out to Aurelia. Shout out to Nikita. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Dakai. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Snow. Shout out to these people. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Zamari. Whoops. There we go. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Modesser. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Catherine. Shout out to Dave. Thank you. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Xander. Shout out to Eduardita. Shout out to Subi. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Alia. Shout out to Mecha. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mikey. Shout out to Aiden. Thank you, Dave. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to James. Shout out to Nash. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Star. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Davy. Shout out to Donna. Shout out to Dawson. Shout out to Stefano. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Antonella. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Reese, or Rice. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Alonso. Shout out to Abdania. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Genesis. Shout out to Angelina. Shout out to Bryson. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Tiny. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Malia. Shout out to Solana. Shout out to Vaughn. Shout out to Tori. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Brian. Shout out to Paxton. Shout out to Hattie. Shout out to Chloe. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Lainey. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Mr. D. Shout out to Bryson. There we go. Shout out to Cassie. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Thank you so much for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can check out my channel as well. I post YouTube shorts also. Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Giselle. Shout out to Astro. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Mimi. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Shawnee. Or Shani. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Paxton. Shout out to Whisker. Thank you so much. Shout out to Brody. Shout out to David Tran. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to David Tran. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Al Shukri. Happy birthday. And thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to David Tran. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Bryson. Shout out to Jonah. Shout out to Vivi. Shout out to Ainara. Shout out to Sopan. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Ensley Wright. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Ensley Wright. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Lisa. Happy birthday. Shout out to Ensley Wright. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Ensley. Shout out to Bryce. Did I get Bryce? I don't remember. Shout out to Maribel. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Anila. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Luis. Shout out to Alondra. Shout out to Genevieve. Shout out to Vance. Whoops, I kind of messed up. Shout out to Waverly. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Al Shamsi. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Jonish. Shout out to Gurjin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Mira. Shout out to Nini. Shout out to James. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Hazel. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Monica. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Zaylin. Shout out to Joshua, I got you. Shout out to Novali. Shout Nini, I got you. Shout out to Hannah, I got you. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Redeema. Shout out to Kiki. Shout out to Ellie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Gray. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Akita Hart. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Akita Hart. Thank you so much. Shout out to Mila or Mila. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Oliver. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Jeremy. Shout out to Adrian. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Anita. Shout out to Dexter. Shout out to Lizzie. Shout out to Lux. Shout out to Ashan. Shout out to Elon. Shout out to Carmen. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Dion. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Joy. I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to you. Thank you for your patience. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Catalina. Shout out to Andriel. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Analia. Shout out to Jarrett. Shout out to Greg. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Roxy. Shout out to Zendaya. Shout out to Princess. Shout out to Balkis. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Karen. Shout out to Lacetti. Shout out to Onyx. Shout out to Dara. Shout out to Modesser. Shout out to Zyre. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Briella. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Albane. Shout out to Kylara. Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to Athena. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Wayne. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to Jerry. Shout out to Payson. Shout out to Cassandra. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. On to the next page. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Calrich. Shout out to Bentley. Shout out to Marvin. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Nunu. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Minnie. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Jaden. I'm gonna write Jake again because I kind of messed up right there. Shout out to Albane. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Celine. Shout out to Emmy. Shout out to Samuel. Shout out to Nasiba. Shout out to Ashanti. Shout out to London. Shout out to Jasper. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Ollie. Shout out to Lena. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Sanay or Sanai. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Shark. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Kimia or Kamia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Smokey. Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to John. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Liz. Shout out to Lorraine. Shout out to Zara. Shout out to Tatum. Shout out to Niam. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Janaya. Or Jania. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Jace. Shout out to what was it? Oops. Paisley. Shout out to Sydney. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Liz. Shout out to Jessie. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Moia. Shout out to Christopher. Shout out to Savannah. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Yuna. Shout out to Sierra. Shout out to Jalea. Shout out to Emogan. Shout out to Bronx. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Frederica. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Kylie or Kaylee. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Iobed. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Kwame. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kiana. Shout out to Eliza. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Michka. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Holly. Shout out to happy birthday, Mia. Shout out to Emma. Thank you. Shout out to Brody. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. I kind of messed up right here, so I'm going to write your name again. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Lancy. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to Taylin. Thank you everyone for your patience. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Ashni. Shout out to Kritika. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. Whoops. There we go. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Shout out to Azizat. Shout out to Dorian. Shout out to Cheyenne. Thank you for stopping by. Shout out to Cutie Pie. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Reba. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Amaya or Amia. Shout out to Zuzu. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Cooper. Shout out to Kiara. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. That little cake is so cute. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Lisa. That was so cute. Shout out to Lisa Gaska. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. That was so cute. Shout out to Lisa Gaska. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Cairo. Shout out to Reba Peterson. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Reba. Shout out to Skylar. Happy birthday. Shout out to Ariel. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Nima. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Braylon. Shout out to Keisha. Shout out to Frank. Shout out to Kendall. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I'm not the fastest writer, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you so much. Shout out to, oh, sorry, I forgot to write the title. Thank you so much for being here. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I also post on YouTube Shorts, so I hope you can check it out. My channel's NessDIYcorner. Shout out to Spooky. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to April. Shout out to Jiva. Shout out to Aria. Or Araya, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Lovelet. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Maggie. Shout out to Eclipse. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Janaya. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Cameron. Shout out to Shalom. Shout out to Brayley. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to Arbe. I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to you. I know I don't write the fastest. Shout out to Arizona. So that's why I appreciate your patience and your time. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to, is it Bob? Shout out to Ken. Shout out to Zoe. I kind of messed up right there. There we go. Shout out to Azimat. Shout out to Reeve. Shout out to Envy. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Akai. Shout out to Rylan. Shout out to Diana. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Maggie. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Forever. Shout out to Lainey. Shout out to Trinity. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Tamim. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Ruth. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to James. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Estrella. Shout out to Jasmine. Shout out to Everly. Shout out to Andy. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Stephanie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you like the shout outs. Shout out to Susan. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Finley. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Charcos. Shout out to William. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Eliana. Shout out to Kalani. Shout out to Camry, thank you. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Erin. Shout out to Avni. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Emery. Shout out to Kaiki. Shout out to Kyler. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Xavier. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Lavian. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Malcolm. I hope you feel better. Shout out to Cassidy. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Rafaela. Shout out to Leela. Shout out to Celine. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to Rihanna. Or Rihanna, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Rochelle Kazalbon. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Rochelle. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Sienna. Shout out to Rochelle. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Rochelle Casabon. So sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Juliana C. Shout out to Josiah. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Kamori. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Decio. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Xanthia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ansley. Shout out to You're welcome. Shout out to Kalia. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Yasmin. Shout out to Giselle. Shout out to Bug. Shout out to Norali. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for being here. I will try to live stream again in a couple of hours. If not, I will see you all next time. Please like and subscribe so you know when I'm gonna go live stream. Also check out my channel. Like I said before, I post on YouTube Shorts greeting cards. I do Valentine cards also with Valentine's Day coming up. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. I will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.